Hello, grade 6 pupils. How are you today? I know you are ready for this new lesson. Welcome to Mathematics 6, Quarter 4, Module 3, and our lesson is about reading and interpreting electric and water meter readings. I am Teacher Zen, your guide in answering your module. The activities in here will be of help that you can be able to, number 1, read and interpret electric and water meters. And number 2, solve routine and non-routine problems involving electric and water consumption. Your interest and patience are encouraged to make learning fun and enjoyable despite this new normal mode of learning that we are experiencing now. You need also to listen carefully and follow the instructions given. So what are you waiting for? Get ready now. Prepare your pen and paper. We are going to start. Good luck! To start with our lesson, try to answer the items below to gauge how much you already know about reading electric and water meters.
For numbers 1 to 3, write the electric meter in kilowatt-hour. Write your answer on your paper. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. For numbers 4 to 8, you are going to complete the table. Write your answers on your paper. On the first column is the present reading. The second column is the previous reading. And the third column is the water consumed. Number 4. Present reading is 8,978 cubic meters. Previous reading, 8,112 cubic meters. Number 5. Present reading 1,876 cubic meters. Previous reading 1,753 cubic meters. Number 6. Present reading 7,872 cubic meters. Previous reading is 7,781 cubic meters. Number 7. Present reading 5,674 cubic meters. Previous reading 5,585 cubic meters. Number 8. 4,000 4,955 cubic meters is the present reading, and 4,934 cubic meters is the previous reading. Let's check your answers now to find out your scores. Number 1, the answer is 7,646 kilowatt hour. Number 2, 3,812 kilowatt hour. Number 3, 1,052 kilowatt hour. Number 4, 866 cubic meters. Number 5, 123 cubic meters. Number 6, 91 cubic meters. Number 7, 89 cubic meters. And number 8, 21 cubic meters.
In checking your own paper, always remember the saying, honesty is the best policy. All right, count your correct answers now. Who got a score of 6? How about 7? And 8? Wow, very good. If you got a score lower than 6, don't worry. You will learn more as we proceed with the lesson. Now that you are finished answering what I know, let's proceed to lesson 1.
Read and write the dials of the electric meter below. Write your answers on your paper. Number 1. What is the reading in kilowatt hour? Number 2. What is the reading in kilowatt hour? Number 3. What is the reading in cubic meters? Let's see if your answers are correct. Number 1, the answer is 53,703 kilowatt hour. Number 2, 7,415 kilowatt hour. And number 3, 3,518 cubic meters.
Good job! This time, let's study the following meter readings.
This is an example of an electric meter. How do you read and interpret the electric reading above? This is an example of a water meter. How do you read and interpret the water reading above? Okay. We will find out later the answer to this question as we proceed with our lesson.
Now, let's study deeper about electric and water meter.
What is an electric meter? An electric meter is a device that measures the energy transformed from electrical sources to our devices at home. Most electrical meters at home are located at a conspicuous place outside of a residence for quick access by representatives of electrical companies to do their monthly readings. Reading an electric meter. Reading your electric meter is easy. There are two types of electric meters being used by electric companies. One is the digital type, which indicates kilowatt-hour readings by digital numbers. The other is the dial type, which is the most commonly used electric meter. Consider the following readings and how the final reading is determined. Present reading 199 kilowatt-hour. The previous reading 125 kilowatt-hour. Therefore, the electric consumption is 74 kilowatt-hour. An electric meter shows readings of energy. The unit of energy reflected in an electric meter is the kilowatt-hour, a unit of measure that reflects the product of power and time, giving the quantity energy. In an electric meter, notice that there are 5 dials, and inside each dial is a pointer which indicates the number to be read. The pointers will alternately turn clockwise and counterclockwise. These dials measure the number of kilowatt-hour as devices are used for a particular period of time. The illustration shows the following meter reading on each dial. Dial E, the pointer is directly on the number 7, record as 7. Dial D, the pointer has just passed 4 and is between 4 and 5, record the lower value 4. Dial C, the next dial look like it is right on 8, but the dial to its right has not passed 0. So, record this as 7, the lower value. Dial B, the pointer is between 2 and 3. Record the lower value which the pointer just passed, 2. Dial A, the dial has passed 6 and is between 6 and 7. Again, record the lower value 6. Thus, the electric meter reading is 62,747 kilowatt-hour. Note: always read the dials from the right to the left, starting from dial E to dial A. Each dial will turn in the opposite direction. So if your first dial turns clockwise, the second dial will turn anti-clockwise. Be sure to remember this when recording your reading. In general, if the meter dial arrow is in between two numbers, record the number with the lower value. Taking a digital electric meter reading. On a digital meter, you should record all the digits shown on the display. It is not important to include any zeros at the beginning. In the example, the meter reading is 9,410. What is a water meter? A water meter is a device that measures the volume of water delivered to a property. Some water meters measure water in gallons, while others measure volumes in cubic feet. Most residential water meters are located near the curb or sidewalk at the front of the property in a concrete box. The water meter box will have a metal or plastic lid and may be marked water meter. Reading a water meter. The older style of water meter is with small dials. It looks like a series of small clocks that turns clockwise. See the illustration that follows. The unit used for this measurement is cubic meters. The rules of reading a water meter with dials are similar to the way an electric meter is being read, but with the rightmost having the greatest place value. Meter reading 3,518 cubic meters. To read water meters, number 1, start reading from right to left, clockwise. Read the number by the pointer of the dial. When the pointer is between two numbers, the lower number is recorded. Number 2, if the pointer appears to be exactly on a number, check the next lower dial to the right to find out the correct reading. If the dial on the right has passed 0, then use the smaller number on the dial you are reading. Number 3, record the numbers from right to left as illustrated in the figure. Computing water and electric consumption. To compute for water or electric consumption for a particular period of time, simply subtract the previous reading from the present reading.
Now that we have studied the steps to be followed in reading electric and water meters, let's answer the activities under What's More.
Draw the pointers on the dials as shown in each item. Do this in your answer sheet. Number 1, 3,932 kilowatt hour. Number 2, 164 cubic meters. Give the reading of the following meter readings. Write your answer in your answer sheet.
Let's check if your answers are correct.
Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4.
the next, let's check what you have learned.
How do we read electric meters? Number 1. Always read all the dials from right to left, starting from dial E to dial A. Number 2. Read the number by the pointer of the dial. When the pointer is between two numbers, the lower number is recorded. Number 3. If the pointer appears to be exactly on a number, check the dial to the right to find out the correct reading. If the dial on the right has passed 0, then use the number that the pointer is pointing to on the dial you are reading. If the dial has not passed 0, then make use of the smaller number on the dial you are reading. How do we read water meters? Number 1. Start reading from right to left clockwise. Read the number based on the pointer of the dial. When the pointer is between two numbers, the lower number is recorded. Number 2. When the pointer is directly on the number, look at the dial to the right. If it has passed 0, use the next higher number. If the dial has not passed 0, use the lower number. Number 3. Record the number from right to left. Simply subtract the previous reading from the present reading to compute for water or electric consumption for a particular period of time.
In the next activity, you're going to read and solve the given problems. Write your answers on your paper.
Number 1. The De La Cruz family closely monitors their electric consumption. The figures below show the readings on their dials for the previous and present month. What is the electric consumption of De La Cruz family for this month? If your answer is 128 kilowatt hour, then you are correct. Kiamad knows how to conserve energy. She turns off the light bulb when not in use and switch off their electric appliances when not in use. How about you? Can you name some ways on how you can conserve electricity to reduce the amount of electric current and to reduce electric bill? Number 2. Irene's record of her family's water consumptions read this way: present month and previous month. How many cubic meters of water do they consume for this month? If your answer is 1,240 cubic meters, then you are correct. In Wayang, learned in their science subject that water is very important in one's everyday life. In order to help prevent water pollution, she invited her friends for a tree planting activity and made posters with regards preventing water pollution. At home, she helps reduce their family's water bill. She helped in conserving water by always closing the faucet when not in use. How about you? How can you help prevent water pollution? How can you help in conserving water? Assessment. Give the reading for each meter. Write your answer in your answer sheet. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Letter B. Draw the dials to show the meter reading. Write your answer in your answer sheet. Number 4. 2,321 kilowatt hour. Number 5. 1,382 cubic meters. Let's check your answers. Number 1. The correct answer is 67,846 kilowatt hour. Number 2, 68,842 kilowatt hour. And number 3, 1,366 cubic meters. Number 4, it should look like this. And number 5, you have here the answer.
Here I am again. Follow me so we now proceed to lesson 2 of your module. This time, we're going to solve routine and non-routine problems involving electric and water consumption. Let's get started!
Study the table below, then answer the following questions. Write your answers on your paper. We have here household A, B, C, D, and E. We have here their electric meter readings, the previous readings, and the present reading. Household A, 3,140 kilowatt hour, and the present reading is 3,388 kilowatt hour. Household B, previous reading 6,395 kilowatt hour. The present reading is 6,710 kilowatt hour. Household C, the previous reading is 4,706 kilowatt hour. The present reading is 4,953 kilowatt hour. Household D, the previous readings is 5,215 kilowatt hour. present reading 5,580 kilowatt-hour. Household E, previous reading is 6,535 kilowatt-hour. The present reading is 5,795 kilowatt-hour. Which household consumed the most electricity? The correct answer is household D. Number 2. Which household consumed the least electricity? If your answer is household C, then you are correct. Number 3. Which households consumed almost the same energy in kilowatt-hour? The correct answer is household A and household C. Number 4. Reyes family's water consumption is 117 cubic meters. If their previous water meter reading was 531, what is their present water meter reading? The correct answer is 648 cubic meters. Number 5. Last month, the water meter reading of a household was 1,552 cubic meters. The following month, it was 1,596 cubic meters. If the basic charge of water consumption per cubic meter is 2 pesos and 55 centavos, how much will they need to pay? Okay. Compare your answer to the given answer here. 112 pesos and 20 centavos. Do we have the same answers? Alice has a computer unit that has a power requirement of 200 watts. If she used her computer for 3 hours every day, how much electricity would she consume in 30 days? How will you solve this problem? To solve the problem, use the 4-step plan to solve the given problem. Follow the steps below. Step 1. Understand. Letter A. What is asked? The total of electricity consumed in 30 days. Letter B. What are the given facts? power requirement of 200 watts, uses her computer for 3 hours every day, consumed in 30 days. Step 2, you need to plan. Letter A. What operation shall we use to solve the problem? Multiplication. Letter B. What is the equation to be used? 200 times 3 times 30 equals the answer. First, multiply 200 watts to 3 hours to determine the consumption for the day, then multiply to 30 days. Step 3, solve. Show the computation. 200 watts times 3 hours equals 600 watt-hour. 600 watts times 30 days equals 1,800 watt-hours in 30 days. Answer: the total watts consumed in 1 month is 1,800 watts. Step 4, check. Look back what is asked in the problem and check the answer to the problem. Let's take another example. Last month, Alice had a water reading of 1,341. This month, the reading is 1,382. How much water was consumed during the given period? Step 1. Understand. What are asked? The water consumption of Alice during the given period. What are the given facts? The previous water meter reading is 1,341 cubic meters. The present water meter reading is 1,382 cubic meters. Step 2. Plan. Letter A. What operation shall we use to solve the problem? Subtract previous water meter reading from present water meter reading so that you will get the difference that corresponds to the water consumptions in cubic meters. Step 3. Solve. Letter A. Show the computation. Present reading 1,382 cubic meters. Previous reading 1,341 cubic meters. The answer: 41 cubic meters water consumption in 1 month. Step 4. Check. Check your answer. This is one way on how to check if the answer is correct. Go back to your computation. Check if all the given values are properly used.
This time, let's answer the activities under What's More.
Rowena's family made a record of their 3-month electric consumption. The initial reading was 1,476 kilowatt-hour. The following table shows the succeeding monthly readings. January, the reading is 1,532. February, 1,597. March, 1,646. In what month did they have the highest electric consumption? The correct answer is February. Letter B. What was the average monthly electric consumption of their family? The answer is 56.67 kilowatt-hour. Number 2. Below are water meter readings of 4 houses. House A, House B, House C, and House D. Which house has the lowest water consumption? If your answer is House C, you are correct. Letter B. Which house has the highest water consumption? If your answer is House B, you are correct. In solving routine and non-routine problems involving electric and water consumption, the 4-step plan can be used. The following is the 4-step plan. Number 1, understand. Know what is asked in the problem. Know the given facts. Step 2, plan. Know the operations to be used to solve the problem. Write the equation. Step 3, solve. Solve the problem. Step 4, check. Look back, check, and label your answer. Try to read and solve the following problems. Number 1. On March 1, the water meter reading of a given household was 1,456 cubic meters. On the last day of March, the reading was 1,499 cubic meters. How much water was consumed for the given period? The answer is 43 cubic meters. Number 2. Last month, Kim's electric meter reading was 4,945 kilowatt-hour. The following month, the reading was increased by 65 kilowatt-hour. What was the reading of the following month? The correct answer is 5,010 kilowatt-hour. Do we have the same answer?
How are you now, children? I presume you have learned a lot from the different activities related to electric and water meters. Now, let's now gauge how much you learned by answering the assessment.
Read and solve the following problems. Write your answers on your paper. Number 1. Mr. Tan computed his monthly electrical consumption. Based on his electric bill, last month he noted the reading to be 146. When he checked his digital electric meter, the current reading was 189. How many kilowatt hours did Mr. Tan consume so far? Number 2. Last month, the water meter reading was 1,489 cubic meters. The next month, the reading was 1,565 cubic meters. How much cubic meter of water was consumed? Number 3. What is the water consumption of a certain laundry shop for 1 month if the present water meter reading is 785 cubic meters and the previous water meter reading is 562 cubic meters? Number 4. Jing's records of her family's electric consumption are as follows. Initial reading 123, January 244, February 448, and March 659. What is their family's total electric consumption for 3 months? Letter B. Find the average monthly electric consumption of Jing's family for 3 months. Let's see if your answers are correct. Number 1, the answer is 43 kilowatt hour. Number 2, the answer is 76 cubic meters. Number 3, if your answer is 223 cubic meters, you are correct. Number 4. What is their family's total electric consumption for 3 months? The answer is 536 kilowatt hour. Find the average monthly electric consumption of Jing's family for 3 months. The answer is 178.67 kilowatt hour. Additional activity. Answer these activities at home. Write your answers on your answer sheet. Let's try to read them. Letter A. Write the water consumption given the present and previous water meter readings. Number 1. Present reading 7,846. Previous reading 7,698. Number 2. Present reading is 6,724 and the previous reading is 6,596. Letter B. Below is a table of electric consumption. Complete the table. So number 3, the previous reading in kilowatt hour 2,345 and the present reading 3,549 kilowatt hour. Number 4, previous reading is 2,350 kilowatt hour. present reading is 4,500 kilowatt-hour. Number 5, previous reading 3,570 kilowatt-hour. Present reading is 4,590 kilowatt-hour. Letter C, read and solve the following problems. Number 1. On January 15, the water meter reading of a given household was 1,398 cubic meters. The next month, the reading was 1,453 cubic meters. How much water was consumed? Number 2. The water meter reading of a following household on February was 5,829 cubic meters. What was the water consumption if the following month's reading was 5,941 cubic meters? Number 3. The present meter reading shown in Mrs. Ramos' electrical meter is 6,512 kilowatt-hour. What was the last reading if the family used 42 kilowatt-hour? Number 4. Mr. Jose's family consumed 150 kilowatt-hour for a month. If their previous electrical meter reading was 31,748 kilowatt-hour, what was their present meter's reading? Number 5. Last month, my electric meter reading was 3,411 kilowatt-hour. The next month, the reading was 3,619 kilowatt-hour. How much energy in kilowatt-hour did I consume?
Alright, we're done with your module. I hope you learned a lot from the lessons and you were able to answer correctly all the activities. God bless everyone and see you all again next time. Goodbye.